Hi, welcome to Interpersonal Communication, otherwise known as IPC. My name is Ms. Quane, and I'll be your child's IPC teacher this semester. So let's get started with our virtual open house. In today's presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my teaching philosophy. Then I'll move into our course and our unit studies in IPC. And we'll finish today by talking about grading practices and contact information so you can stay in touch throughout the semester. Again, hello, my name is Ms. Quane, and this year marks my third year of teaching at LT after graduating from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I grew up in Skokie, Illinois, in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and went to Niles North High School. While at LT, I've taught English 1 Excel, IPC, English 2 Prep, and I'll also be teaching an English 2 Honors this year. I also coach the LTHS speech team, so if your student loves to talk and is interested in speaking and performing at LT, please encourage them to reach out as we'll be starting auditions pretty soon. I'm currently pursuing a master's in literacy education to be a certified reading specialist, and I'm hoping to finish that up in about 1.5 years from Northeastern Illinois University. So moving on to my teaching philosophy, I really value social and emotional learning in the classroom, and this is the idea that we learn best in an environment in which we feel seen, heard, and appreciated. And this is something I strive to make students feel in the class each day. I start each class by asking my students to rate their day on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being this is the best day, or 1 being this is the worst day ever, and 5 being this is the best day ever. And in that moment, in that little rating, we're able to build that community, listen to each other, and notice that we're not alone all the time in feeling like we're at a 1. And so that's something that I really love to do each day at the beginning of class. I also really value the growth mindset, which is something that LT is really passionate about as well. It's the idea that we learn from failure, that knowledge is not fixed. It grows with time, practice, and dedication to learning. And you'll notice that our grading practices in IPC reflect this. Finally, self-advocacy. Students are encouraged to reach out with questions, schedule appointments with me, check their email, check our Canvas page, and ask for help when needed. Moving on to about the course, IPC was established in 2005 and was designed to encourage students to think critically about communication messages, engage with new perspectives, and determine how to be more effective communicators overall. I've included a quote here from Tony Robbins because I think it really embodies what IPC is all about. To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. And this is something we strive to teach kids in IPC each day. IPC also is a great course because it prepares students for college and beyond. So I've included another quote here from Dan Schwabel, Research Director at Future Workplace. Graduates need strong communication and problem-solving skills if they want to interview well and succeed in the workplace, because effective writing, speaking, and critical thinking enables you to accomplish business goals and get ahead. So again, I love teaching IPC because I think it's so applicable to the real world that students will experience after they graduate. What will we do this year? Our unit studies look like this. We start with Intro to Communication, where we encourage students to think about what role communication plays in their lives, as well as who they are as communicators coming into the course. We study the communication model, we talk a lot about listening, and then we move into our Unit 2 delivery skills. In this unit, we talk about how to create meaningful connections with your audience, whether you're talking to a big group of people or in a more intimate setting. And so this is where the public speaking section of the course really comes to fruition. In Unit 3, we discuss conflict and collaboration, how to navigate a situation in which you're disagreeing with other people. And then in Unit 4, we move into culture and perception, where we talk about how culture affects the way we communicate and form relationships with others. And finally, we end the semester with media and the message, where we talk about how we can communicate more effectively with electronic media. And students also have an opportunity to analyze media messages in this unit. So this is really what the semester looks like as an overview. Again, we start with that intro to communication. We do a lot of communication analysis, self-reflection in terms of who students are as communicators. Then we move into delivery, where we focus on public speaking skills, conflict and collaboration, where they do group communication analysis, culture and perception, where they do a lot of self-reflection and discussion, and then finally media and the message, where they do a lot of media analysis. And then they move on and go to North Campus. You'll notice that our technology in the course probably looks very similar to the other courses that your students are experiencing at LT. Google is so important. Students should have already created their IPC folder in their Google Drive to help them stay organized throughout the semester. Canvas is really your students' home base at LT right now. So Canvas is where they have access to class materials, resources, my weekly agenda slides, and our homework. And this is also where they'll submit assignments for me and receive feedback. And while they have that feedback on Canvas, their official grade goes into Infinite Campus. So you'll notice that all official grades are posted here, as well as your student schedule and other services at LT. And usually when I send emails to parents, I'll send them out through Infinite Campus. Considering the fact that we're virtual learning as of right now for this quarter, I also wanted to include some other technology tools to make my class a little bit more engaging and hopefully a little bit more fun throughout this Zoom experience. So we're going to be using Flipgrid to film speeches and collaborate with each other. We're also going to be using Pear Deck in the lesson, and this is just a tool that allows me to make my slides more interactive and engaging for students. And then I'll also throw in my Wheel of Greatness every now and then, which is really just a way for me to cold call on students and ensure that all voices are heard throughout the lesson. I've included this slide about Canvas for parents just in case you haven't yet signed up as an observer on Canvas. You can do this by going to the login screen and entering your student's username. And then you can view but not participate in your students' courses. So you'll be able to kind of see what we're working on. You can see the lessons for each day and the feedback that your students are receiving as well. Moving on to grading practices, I mentioned earlier that our grading practices in IPC really reflect that growth mindset. And you'll notice that here, considering the fact that formative assessments or your students' practice before the summative assessment is worth 0% of their overall grade. And the reason why these assessments are worth 0% is because we don't want to punish students for making mistakes on the practice. They're supposed to make mistakes. And that's really what allows them to determine how they need to improve. And so it's important for students to engage in this practice, even though it technically isn't worth anything, because it will likely determine your student's grade on the summative. So if they're not engaging in the practice, they'll probably struggle with that final assessment because they haven't done the work to really get them to where they need to go. The summative assessments are worth 100% of your student's grade, but they can be revised if your student sets up an appointment to meet with me and review feedback. Students have 2 weeks to revise for a new grade from receiving their original grade. And this is a really nice opportunity for students to, again, show us that they want to get better and they want to improve their learning. In the bottom left, I've included some Infinite Campus flag information, and you should already be familiar with some of this, but I've included them here just in case. The M stands for missing, L for late, I for incomplete, and E for exempt. So you'll notice that sometimes I'll flag your student's grade on Infinite Campus, and they can go in and see what flag has been selected, and then email me with any questions. How can you support your student this semester? Really encourage them to use the Canvas homepage. Again, this is our home base for our virtual learning experience together. Also motivate them to communicate. Use information to help students communicate. Ask them to order dinner, to have conversations, to FaceTime relatives and listen to different perspectives to try and understand. We also encourage you to ask them to put the phone away sometimes and to really sit down and have those authentic conversations as much as possible. And then finally, just be involved and encouraging. This is a really challenging time for everyone, but I know that we can do this together, and I know that it will be okay in the end. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you'd like to stay in touch throughout the semester, you can always reach me via email at mquane@lths.net. I also have office hours by appointment. I'm happy to meet with you or your student over Zoom or both in the morning, Tuesday through Friday from 7:45 to 8:45, and in the afternoons from 2:50 to 3:15. Thank you for listening, and I really hope to meet you soon. Have a great day.